A lower chair, so hopefully that'll help right now. And yeah, looks like I'm okay. You can see all of me, even the very top of my head, as well as a little bit of my loom over here. I'm going to have my laptop computer next to me once I start doing the presentation. And you have questions, just type them in there, and hopefully I can answer them as we go along. I'm going to be moving the camera over to my loom here and focus on it. Make sure that you can see what's going on. Share with you some of the books that I use and some of the software, and maybe give you an opportunity to try something a little different if you haven't tried it yet. So there we go. Hi, Jennifer. All right, I'll be focusing on the loom momentarily. So just hang with me there. We always love to do these one-woman shows, right? Now I'm going to start with that you can see the whole loom, and then the plan is to focus a little bit more on the actual, what I'm doing here. So let's see if I can get myself around all these corners here. And again, it's one of those things, if you miss it now, you can always watch it at some other point in time. What I did was I used two books. One of them is an oldie but goodie. It's Marguerite Davidson's Handweaver's Pattern book. Now in her book, she actually has bird's eye and Rosepath threading all together. Technically, this is the one that I'm using, number 3, and she has some of them over here also. If you're not familiar with this book, or even if you are, this book was written for a counterbalance loom, which means that it was a sinking shed, so the shafts all went down. So if you try to do any of these and you go, that doesn't look right, well, if you go underneath your loom, maybe they'll look a little bit better. So that's one of the references that I used. And the other reference, hi Jocelyn, the other one is the one Handweaver's Pattern Directory. And this one, it's in color, so it's a lot nicer. This one has also the Rosepath. Now here's where the problem could be for some of you. If you have a 4-shaft loom, most of the time they come with 6 treadles. And here they have 10 across. So if you're trying to do some of these, you might be limited in how many treadles, or you have to figure out some other way to do it. My loom, lucky for me, I ordered some extra treadles for someone, so I actually have 10 treadles on my 4-shaft loom. I can do all of these things here, and I'm going to talk about those in a moment. So that's what I use as my reference. And some of you might have seen this. This is some of the patterns that you can actually do. Now, the problem with when you do these kinds of computer printouts, sometimes everything here doesn't look quite the same, and I'll explain why. Hi, Kathy. Now, I'll explain that momentarily. But let's just, first of all, if you're not familiar with 4-shaft looms, or you're just starting it, or maybe you're just curious about it, rather than a rigid heddle of 2, you actually have 4 ways of manipulating the yarn, I guess is what you'd say. This is the threading. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 4, 3, 2, and goes back and forth. You can see that. Now, what's nice about this, we have odd numbers and even numbers side by side, so you can do a plain weave or a tabby. So that's one nice thing about it. But what you can see here, if I can hold my hand steady here, I have the regular, what we call twill. 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, and 1, 4. Then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I have a tabby. So what I'm going to do is just move some of these papers out of the way, and we're going to be using 2 shovels here. Let me just show that to you if you're not familiar with it. So right now, 2 of these go up. You should be able to see the 2. And then the next time it's 2 and 3. And then it's 3 and 4. I'm not going to crawl under the loom more often than I have to anymore. And 1 and 4. Now the next 4, so we have 4, so we have 5, only 1 goes up. So if you only have 6 treadles, you might have to combine, you might have to like step on 2 at one time to make it go up. So you have to figure out another way. If you have a table loom, no problem. This is 2, 3, and 4. Then we have, I actually have tabby set up here, 1 and 2 and, 1 and 3 and 2 and 4. So that's how my loom matches what's in the tie-up here. It matches all of that. And it matches the one in the book, the Handweaver's Directory book. It's also the same one in there. But what's neat about this, I think sometimes we look at something and we go, what can we do with that? It's kind of boring. Maybe I want to do something else. But you don't have to rethread your loom. I'm going to right now see if I can focus right on the pattern here because it's kind of hard to see maybe. See if I can move the light over here. That's the only problem with some of these demos. The lighting and what you can see isn't always easy. All right, so let's take a look. I already did one of them. And, there we go. This is the other thing I do. You see a little post-it here? This is what I put up on my loom that I can follow. And you'll hear me talking out loud when I do that. This matches to the treadling here. The other nice thing about some of these patterns is if you are, I know Jennifer's math, if you're kind of like algebra and patterns, you start to see a pattern and then your feet and your brain start clicking and you memorize it because you keep doing it over and over again. And if not, you can just keep writing it down and taking a little pencil when you're done, whatever works for your brain. Now with this one, you see a little white dot in there? Now in this case, this pink or whatever color you want to call it, but you can't see that. I can't see that little dot in there because it's hidden. It's in there. If you can see it, it's there. Now, why does that happen? A couple of reasons. This is set at 18 ends per inch. I'm using about it's an 8-2 cotton linen. We had a discussion behind the scenes. This is cotton and linen 50-50, and I'm weaving with cotton and linen 50-50. So I know it's 50-50% of the yarn. Just a little sideline for some of you there, maybe a little inside joke, so to speak. Anyway, so what happens is this is thicker yarn, and I have it set wider. If I was using maybe 10-2 yarn or 20s-2 or something like that, I might see the pattern a little bit better, and I might see that little center thing because of these floats. Just something for you to be aware of. Now, this matches this right now. But like I said, it's kind of hard to get an idea of what this is going to look like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little handy dandy post-it, put that up here so I can follow the directions, so to speak. My plan is to do as many as I can, I guess, in the next 20-some minutes, little patterns. But I think you'll get the idea. So this will be like a sampler towel, I guess is what you'd say. So right now, I have to kind of look down here. I'm going to start with 4 and take my shuttle across. Now, oops, I already did the 4. Forgot about that one. I did the 4 already. I tend to end on 1 and keep on going. So we have the 4. Now it's going to be 3, 2, and 1. And now I'm going to do 8, 7, 6, and then it says 1, and then it's back to 6, 7, 8, and then it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now you get a better idea. You can really see what's happening here with the pattern. And this is a great way, if you're not sure what one you want to do, put on an extra yard and play around with it. Now I'm using the contrast white so you can see the pattern better. And then what I'm going to do is, now that I did that one twice, I'm going to do a tabby in between. So just kind of a little bit of, I tuck this in the end, just to separate this pattern. This could be something maybe I'm going to, getting all tangled around in here, back here. You can't see what I'm doing over here. That's great. You don't want to see this. Yes, you can. All right, so I have that, and I'm going to do a little bit of a tabby. 1, I'm going to do, 4, go back and forth. I see my tie-ups are a little out of whack here, but I can fix that another time. All right, so I did that, and now I'm going to nip it off here. So we have one sample. Numbers you are calling out are my treadling. Yes, this is my little post-it here, my little trick, not my little trick. It's basically the same thing that's in the book. Basically, I copied what was in the book in here. So it's the same thing. Good question. If you had to do 2 treadles, then I'm not doing 2 treadles. You'd have to figure out how to do that somehow. Maybe I'd probably do the singles and then put those together, like, to do a tabby or something like that. But you'd have to come up with some other way and maybe doing that over here, unless you want to buy more treadles for your loom. Or you do the other thing that I like to do, and I'm going to do that next. You look through the patterns and find the ones you can do. And in Marguerite Davidson's book, hers are mostly not using the singles. Most of hers, if you can see it here, are using, I'm trying to see if I can see I don't know how well you can see it or not. She's just using the first 4 on her patterns. So you could do this one, this one, this one, and this one without the singles, which is kind of nice. Yep, that's right. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to do one of those just to give you an idea what that looks like. I like this one up here a lot. That's kind of cool. But there's a lot of floats. So you have to remember, you have a lot of floats. Do you want those or not? That's another question you have to see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little post-it off, pop that up here. Hope it doesn't fall down. And, I need to tuck my end in. The other thing with these patterns, sometimes you need floating selvages. I don't have floating selvages. When you're doing a twill or something like that, floating selvage might be a good idea. All right, so I'm going to count out loud again. This time it's 1, 2, 1. Then it says to go 4, 3, 2, 3, and 4. Again, that's only part of the pattern. I wonder what it's going to look like. Oh, yeah, these are going to be towels. I actually have, the first one I made a poncho. I have a really, because this is where I made a little wider than I planned on making it. I think I got carried away and I thought I had 20 inches, and I think this ended up being 22 inches wide. So these are going to be a little wider. I hope to have them in the event coming up. We'll see. The other thing is, if you want to do a towel and just have a border, you can just do a border and do the rest in tabby. So let's do another one. Might need more than one of these to see what's going on here. 1, 2, 1. Wait a minute. You know what? I think I just did that wrong here. Hang on. I think my foot got on the wrong one. Yep. This is where we go backwards. You get to see me weave backwards here. You know what that means. Unweave. Whoops. All right. So I really want 1, 2, 1, and then it's, but you see what? I made a mistake here, folks. Let's go back. This is the fun part, to watch an experienced weaver figure out what happened. So let's figure out what happened here. Okay, that is 1. But what I'm going to do is go back to make sure I ended on 4 here. Okay, that's 4. So what I was doing is I was going backwards here to figure out where I left off. See, I can't talk and weave at the same time. All right. If you ever do a demo, make sure it's plain weave or something. 1, 2, 1. Now we're going to go 4, 3, 2, 3, and 4. So now you can see a little bit more of what that pattern might be like. You might even want to weave a little bit farther to get more of an idea, but it gives you a little bit of an idea of what that'll be. And actually, after we wash it, it's going to look a lot better, much better. All right, so I'm going to do another tabby back and forth here. tuck it in. Right now I can see I did have, this probably would be better, that pattern, if I had used floating selvages. But that's 1, 2, I'm gonna do one more. I have one thread that's sticking up there. All right, now I have to find my scissors again. There we go. So now we have another one there, a little separation so I can kind of see what's going on. I do have a knot coming up in this particular warp, so I have to keep an eye on that one. All right, to keep myself in place here, I'm going to pop that back there. Now let's see, let's try another one here. Here's another one if you only have 4 shafts. 1, 2, 1, 4, 3, 4. Okay, let's see what that one looks like. Pop my little paper up here. And we'll check that one out. We have 1, 2, 1, and then it is 4, 3, and 4. I really can't see a whole lot with that one. So let's keep going on that because there's not that many threads. 1, 2, 1, and then we have again 4, 3, 4. I have a better idea of what's going on a little bit, but since this is so small, I'm going to do one more. Now, if you're going to be doing a border pattern or doing one of these, and I wanted to stop, this might be where I wanted to stop to match, well, wait a minute, to match the other end. 1, 2, 1. Sorry about that. I'd want to stop there so the 2 ends would match. So right now I have a nice balance there. I wouldn't finish the pattern because we started with 1, 2, 1, 4, 3, 4, and we want to end with 1, 2, 1. So I'm going to stop right there. If I was going to put that maybe in a towel or something like that, then that would be kind of cool to do. All right. I didn't want to snip that off, but I did anyway. If you're going to snip it off, you could just tuck it right back in. Let me see what I do here. I'm not sure how the rest of you do it, but anyway, I keep my fingers out of the way. Now I'm going to do another tabby. But again, right now I have to watch because I see I have a little bit of a, I think it's, sometimes when you get cotton or you get linen especially, there's parts that aren't spun very well. And I think that's what's happening here. 1, 2, gotta watch that. 3 and 4. Make sure that's up there. I'm gonna cut that one off. And we'll try another one. Let's see, let's try another one that maybe okay, let's do a more complicated one. Let's do this one. Now, if you don't have, again, enough treadles, you could maybe do the singles here. Right now, we're going to do this up here, all singles, which are going to show the floats, and then we're going to do the pairs. Otherwise, yeah, we'll see what happens with that one. Oh, we're going to start with, oh, take that one away. I'll put you up here. And start with 8 here. I'm going to start with 8. The other thing, if any of you have ever worked with any kind of twills, sometimes if you start the pattern on a different one, it actually, you don't have to worry about the selvages. But I always like to see what happens. 8, 7, 6, 5, and then it was 8 again. 8, and then we go 5, 6, 7, 8, Now we're going to go down to the double ones. It'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and then we go in reverse. 4, 3, 2, and 1. We have to advance a little bit here. We're getting too close. Another one of my pet peeves is try not to weave too close to your beater because it distorts. When you're weaving here, it's going to distort when you start the next weaving, and you might get some funky selvages going on. So right now I just did 2 of those. But like I said, if I'm going to do a border, I want to end with the first set. So right now, I would want to end with this one. Just makes it nice, balanced weave. And again, this would be great if you, to start your work this way and figure out what patterns you like best. Sometimes I do this until I can find a pattern. Oops, I think I started on the wrong one here. Always have to go back and see where I am. Nope, we're okay. Something that's easy to treadle. So some of you out there that I know are doing things to sell or whatever, and you want to get going on it, you want to make sure it's something that you're not going to make too many mistakes, if you know what I mean. So now I have a balance. I have that inside. I could have done it the other way. I could do another one, but right now, that's basically done for that pattern. That's kind of a nice pattern. And again, I'm sampling right now. So we'll do a tabby. I'm going to keep the white in there and just carry it over. I'll show you sometimes what I do is if I'm doing that, I sometimes just wrap this around and keep on going. Oops, I have the wrong way here. I still wrap it around and I will carry it back and forth. 1. And then wrap that around that edge one. So if you ever are changing colors, you can do something like that. But I'm not going to carry this one over. I'm looking at my clock up there. I think I have time to do one more. For those of you who are not into weaving, this might look like watching water boil. All right. Well, let's see. Well, now this to me is an easy one, right? Oh, look at that, back and forth, back, a little bit extra thing on that. But what if I decided to just change it all up a little bit? What if I just decided to keep doing a zigzag all the way across? Let's see what happens if I do that. So that's the other thing. You can do your own experimenting. You don't have to stick with this. You can try something else. You can just, I sometimes do it on paper or on the computer, but then until I get to the loom, depending on, like I said, the yarn you're using, it's going to look so different at times. So I'm not even going to put that up there. We're just going to start with this one. Let's see what happens. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now I'm going to go back. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I kind of like that. Now I do notice that it is some of the edge threads here. You can see you're not catching every time. That's part of another one of my pet peeves. If it's organic and it's not too much of a, I call it organic, if it doesn't skip too much. So let's go back again. I just did 8. So let's see what happens if I go back again. I usually hold my beater in the middle. I'm trying to keep my hand out of the way, but it's a little difficult right now. Well, there you go. That's not too bad. And actually, that's a pretty easy treadling. What's nice is you can really see the pattern, and I could keep going here and make all kinds of neat little patterns and designs, and then I'd have a really pretty towel. The other thing is when you're doing, sometimes you put one border, sometimes it's nice to do more than one. Now, I'm going to stop at that point and release the tension. if anyone's interested in any of these, you know, PDF or whatever, let me know. I'd be happy to maybe create them. I think I took screenshots of any of this information. But it's something you can do on your own. Just basically popping in something that you see in a book, play around with it. This is the iWeave It program that a lot of us get because it's cheap and easy, so to speak, and not too difficult to operate. All right, let me see if I can go back. Oh, now I can see more people's names who's watching. See, when you're on a desk on a laptop, you don't see all the names of everyone. Let me go over here. All I see are those who commented. And I can see how many eyes are watching everyone. All right. Whoa. Chairs. What's my favorite weaving software? I actually use my iWeave It more than my Fiberworks. I have a Fiberworks on here. I have not taken enough time to sit down and really play around with it. But that I really need to do the Fiberworks. I did get the, I think I just have the bronze. If you have a computer, or if you're down the road, you're going to get a computer operated Loom, you probably would want to invest in Fiberworks because it does go along with a lot of the computerized Dobby kind of looms and so on out there. People use that. It's a little fancier. And that's something, again, I just haven't taken the time to kind of figure it all out. Yeah, good. Yeah, it is. It's so easy to do. The patterns that I actually do and I sell, I usually do I use my iWeave It. It's just quick and easy, and I have everything set up on there. Well, I hope everyone's gotten a little information, something new maybe, something you want to try, or, you know, maybe just something to verify what you've already done in the past. I just like sharing these ideas. If anyone has an idea for next month, I do have something else on my loom right now. I'm doing some scarves. It's an experiment, and I'm not sure if I like it or not. So maybe I'll share that with you next month. I'm also trying to talk my spouse into doing another demo on, I think, on taking care of antique spinning wheels, but we'll see if I can talk him into that or not, maybe next year. All right, well, thank you, everyone. And like I said, maybe this might be something that will be available at my sale. Who knows? We'll see what happens by 2 weeks from now, right, everyone? All right, thank you so much, and everyone take care and have a great rest of your day, evening, wherever you might be. Bye-bye.